When I stepped off the rust-streaked bus at the edge of Lakalava Bay, the air hit me like a warm, salty wave. I was in Anjozorobe, a quiet coastal village in northern Madagascar that barely existed on the maps I had. The villagers didn't even call it a village. They called it Fianakaviana, which means family in Malagasy. My goal was to document the Sakalava fishing traditions. I imagined myself photographing ornate dugout canoes and talking with elders about moontide fishing. I didn't come looking for stories of magic, or vanishing islands, or people trapped in time. But travel doesn't always give you what you ask for. The village had no paved roads. Chickens wandered freely. Children played barefoot soccer with coconuts, and women in vibrant lambas wraps laughed as they sorted fish into woven baskets. Everything smelled of clove, sea breeze, and wood smoke. At the center of town stood a massive baobab tree, where villagers gathered each evening. That was where I first met Rivo. He ran the only guest house, a 4-room cement structure painted blue and white with faded flowers stenciled near the doors. Rivo had eyes like polished obsidian and a voice that sounded like it had been sharpened by years of sea air. "You're a writer," he said, half statement, half accusation. I nodded. "Then write this. There's a place the maps won't show you. It comes when the stars are just right." Tsimoka. I smiled politely, thinking it was a local myth. Maybe a place only visible during low tide. I jotted it down like I would a recipe for coconut stew. But he wasn't joking. 2. Village life and the legend, 5 minutes. Over the next week, I became part of village life. I helped mend nets with the fishermen. I learned to say mialatsini when I stepped on someone's toes, and manitrabi when complimenting the lemongrass rice. The people of Anjozorobe were warm, proud, and rooted in rhythms of tide and tradition. But every so often, Tsimoka would come up. Once, around a nighttime fire, the village elder Baco told the story of a French explorer named Michel René who vanished during a 1963 lunar eclipse. "He went searching for gold and pearls," she said. "But the island does not like greed." Another time, Rivo's niece Malala told me, "The island sings when it wants to be seen. Only some people can hear it. Children, animals, and those who've lost something." She looked at me strangely when she said that. I hadn't told anyone about my brother. He died the year before. A hiking accident in the Pyrenees. That night, I dreamed of a silver island rising from the sea, humming like a choir beneath my feet. When I told Rivo, he looked grim. "You heard it," he said. "You're marked." 3. Journey to the island, 6 minutes. 3 nights later, during a new moon, Rivo came to me at dusk with a paddle in hand. "We go now," he said. "Bring only what you need. No watches, no phone." We paddled out into the bay, Rivo, Malala, and me, in a narrow canoe. The water was slick like oil, and the stars blurred in the sky above like smudged ink. I lost track of time. My head throbbed. My thoughts began to slow. Malala started singing softly, an old lullaby in Malagasy, barely above a whisper. It felt like it wasn't just her voice, though. The water joined her. The wind joined her. The sea began to glow. And then it rose. An island, shaped like a crescent, broke through the waterline like a whale surfacing. It shimmered with dew and moonlight. Not large, maybe the size of 4 soccer fields. Palm trees arched over the shore like cathedral beams, and the sand wasn't white. It was silver. "Tsimoka," Rivo said. "Do not thank it, and do not stay past the call of the rooster." I thought he was joking about the rooster. He wasn't. 4. The island, 6 minutes. We stepped ashore. The moment I did, something changed in the air. Sound was duller. My body felt both lighter and heavier. Time didn't tick here. It dripped. We walked among strange trees that grew in spirals. Some rocks had holes that made flute sounds when the wind passed through. There were carved idols, figures with 5 arms and no faces, placed at the edges of clearings. At the center of the island stood a shallow stone well, filled with water so still it reflected stars that weren't in our sky. I stared into it. My brother's face looked back. I stepped away in a panic, shaking. Malala held my arm and whispered, "You saw someone you missed, didn't you? The island shows you what you lost, or what it took." She told me her older sister had once gone there, and had stayed too long. Now, she only appeared in dreams. That's when we heard footsteps. A man emerged from the trees, wearing a faded explorer's jacket, French military style, thin as paper, eyes cloudy. "Michel René," Rivo breathed. The man stared at me like he recognized me. "I never left," he said in French. "I just stopped arriving." He handed me a leather-bound book. I opened it. Inside were dozens of entries, all about the island. In the last one, dated July 4th, 1963, he wrote, "Time no longer matters here. I think I am the island now." 5. Return and revelation 4 minutes. The star shifted. Malala shouted, "We must go." The island began to shake softly, like a heartbeat. The carvings started humming. A breeze picked up that smelled like salt and bone. We raced to the boat. As we pushed off, the island began to dissolve. Not sink, not fade, but fold into itself like paper burned from the edges. Back in Anjozorobe, we arrived just before the first rooster crowed from under the baobab. My shirt was soaked. My hands trembled. Michel's notebook? Gone. Evaporated into salt. Only a silver stone remained in my pocket, smooth and warm. I hadn't taken it. The island gave it to me. 6. The farewell, final 2 minutes. The next morning, the village was quiet. Rivo avoided me. Malala simply said, "You've seen. That's enough." Before I left, Bako gifted me a woven pouch filled with dried leaves and carved bone. "For protection," she said. "Now that the island remembers you." I never wrote about Tsimoka in my guidebooks. Too unbelievable. Too dangerous. But sometimes, at exactly 4:13 a.m., I hear humming in the wind outside my window, even when I'm thousands of miles from the sea. And I wonder if the island is waiting,